Today, we're going to dive into the work of Dr. Temple Grandin. Now, she's famous for revolutionizing the livestock industry, but her real genius wasn't just in engineering, it was in how she thinks. Her story shows us that we don't all see the world the same way, and honestly, understanding that difference is absolutely critical.
So, let me just ask you, straight up, when an idea pops into your head, what is that like for you? Is it a voice in your head, a stream of words, or is it more like a movie, a series of images flashing in your mind? The answer might actually surprise you, and it says a whole lot about how you tackle problems.
I mean, just let that sink in for a minute. For decades, Dr. Grandin just assumed that everybody's brain worked like hers, a constant stream of pictures. This quote is so wild because it just hammers home a simple truth. What's going on inside our own heads isn't universal. There are completely different ways of processing reality.
So yeah, Dr. Grandin's big realization just blows the doors open on this incredible idea of cognitive diversity. We're not just talking about different opinions here. We're talking about fundamentally different operating systems running in our brains. This is the classic example she always uses, and it's perfect. So you ask someone to think of a church steeple. A lot of people see, a generic symbol, almost like a little cartoon. But Dr. Grandin, she sees a rapid-fire slideshow of specific churches she's seen in her life. New England churches, old stone cathedrals, modern ones. Her mind literally works like Google Images.
And this whole discovery led her to build a framework for understanding these different types of minds. So she's not just talking about her own experience, she's actually categorizing these cognitive styles to help us all see their unique strengths.
This is her, an object visualizer. This kind of thinker is amazing with tangible, real-world things. They can build and troubleshoot complicated machinery entirely inside their head. But abstract stuff like algebra, that can be a huge struggle because there's nothing concrete to see.
So this table kind of lays out the whole spectrum. First, you've got the object visualizers. Those are the hands-on inventors. Then you've got the visual spatial thinkers. They're the pattern seekers, the ones who are naturals at math and programming. And finally, the verbal thinkers, who are just masters of planning, abstract ideas, and communication.
Now, this unique way of thinking isn't just some interesting fun fact. It has these, profound and super practical applications. For Dr. Grandin, thinking in pictures meant she could literally see the world from a completely different perspective and solve problems that verbal thinkers couldn't even see were there.
Dr. Grandin draws this great contrast between her approach and what she calls these vague, abstract goals. A verbal thinker might talk about the concept of improving animal welfare, but an object visualizer like her gets right down to the nuts and bolts. She's not just feeling, she's fixing. She'll say, I am going to fix this specific piece of equipment because its shadow is scaring the cattle.
And her method was just brilliantly simple. She would physically get down into the cattle chutes to see the world from their point of view. She'd look for all the little visual details that were making them panic, and once she spotted the problem, the solution was usually pretty straightforward. Get rid of it.
And this just perfectly illustrates the kinds of things she'd notice. A flapping coat, a glint of light off a truck, or a weird shadow on the ground, which she once called a spider monster. To a manager thinking in words, these are nothing. But to a prey animal and to an object visualizer, they are glaring threats that bring the whole operation to a screeching halt.
Dr. Grandin's success really highlights this massive blind spot in our society. While she managed to find a field where her skills were invaluable, she argues that our modern systems are actively filtering out people who think exactly like her.
See, the problem is, our schools have become totally optimized for verbal and abstract thinking. We've slowly gotten rid of the very classes where object visualizers used to shine. Shop class, drafting, auto mechanics. Instead, we've prioritized abstract math over hands-on skills.
And this quote, wow, it really just hits home, doesn't it? We have a whole generation of potential mechanics, inventors, and skilled tradespeople who are being told they have a deficit just because their kind of intelligence isn't measured well by standard tests. Their skills are just wasting away in a virtual world instead of being used to fix the real one.
And this isn't just some debate about education, it's become a full-blown economic and infrastructural crisis. The impact of this shift is actually pretty alarming when you look at it.
So the first signs of this crisis started popping up in some surprising places. Dr. Grandin visits a brand new, state-of-the-art pork plant and realizes all the complex, amazing machinery, it isn't American. It's imported from Holland.
And it's not just food processing. The most advanced machines for making computer chips, the literal bedrock of our entire digital world, they also come from a company in Holland.
And the pattern just keeps going. That beautiful, stunning structural glass for iconic buildings like the Steve Jobs Theater? Yep, imported from Germany and Italy.
We are systematically outsourcing the very act of building and inventing.
And according to Dr. Grandin, this is not a new problem. It's been building for about 2 decades, right around the time schools started dropping shop classes and that first generation of master mechanics began to retire with nobody to take their place.
So what's the solution? I mean, what do we do? It's definitely not about saying one type of thinking is better than another. The whole point is that real innovation and a society that actually works requires a partnership between all these different kinds of minds.
Real progress needs all three working together. You need the makers, the mathematicians, and the organizers, and they all bring their unique strengths to the table. It is not a solo act. It's a team sport.
Think of it this way. The object visualizer invents the machine. The visual spatial thinker does the complicated math to make it work and make it scalable. And the verbal thinker gets the funding, writes the business plan, and runs the company. You take away any one of those pieces, and the whole thing falls apart.
And this all leaves us with a really crucial question for our time. In a world that's getting more and more abstract, a world of code and data, what happens when we let the practical skills needed to build, maintain, and fix our physical reality just fade away?